Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Big round. Give a big round. Give a big.
We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome to another parental mental health show here in the Parents' Lounge. We have a very special guest. We've brought him in immediately. He's in the side, but we'll slide him right to the middle because here we go. We're off and running. I'm Jamie Kaler, joined as always by my partner Jason Gowan, and we have an old friend of mine. I brought one of my groomsmen out tonight.
That's right.
That's right.
These headphones aren't plugged into anything.
No, I would expect nothing. No,
You were wearing headphones, so I figured I wanted to try it out.
Oh, these basically are mufflers. Basically, this is so my kids can't hear anything you guys say. That's really because my kid.
That's going to help with the tooth fairy talk.
It's really good. Anyway, I guess I'm not supposed to list any shows, but one of them was about not men, but it was a possessive characteristic of the male species. There was another big show that was very political. It wasn't presidential, but I would say it was the next best thing, maybe second in commandish. It's if it would rhyme with keep, we could say. Mm-hmm. Fantastic show with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Matt Walsh, who I saw at the driving range yesterday with his little redheaded girl. He's a very funny cat. And then, of course, there was one about a female comic who's going to be in a superhero movie very soon. It's a good one too. And this the last season, that was a great one too. So, but we can't talk about anything because we're all on strike. But we're not on strike from parenting. Please welcome Mr. Reid Scott tonight.
Hey, Reid.
Oh, hi, Reid. How are you? And Mike Bune is supposed to come in, but apparently he can't get in. It's like he's froze out on him. I've done this with you on StreamYard before, so I assume I haven't. How do I sign into the show? Is this not the link I need to sign in?
He just needs to go. Okay.
Dude, just hit the link. He's a lost cause.
You got to turn the crank on the side of the computer, Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him that. He's so crazy. It's so funny, Reid. We hadn't spoken in a while, and then I saw you on the picket line, and it was like yesteryear. And I posted a picture tonight with you and me and Mike, and my mom was there when we were doing the show and stuff. And it was so fun. And I was like, come do the show for the love of God. And so here we are. And it's funny, too, because now my kids are 5th grade and 3rd grade. Yours are
3rd and kindergarten.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
Insane. Yeah.
I just got, as we were talking, my one of the other moms, because I'm basically in the moms groups, and she sent me the back to school link for all the supplies I have to get. Do you have a back to school supplies list?
Oh yeah. I already loaded up notebooks, multicolored pens, pencil sharpeners, earbuds.
Earbuds.
I know. I thought the same thing too. I guess I don't know what they're gonna jack those kids into, or I hope it's like lid locks. It's like
they'll have a sponsorship by Bose by mid semester.
By the way, I'm such a terrible parent. I'm doing the show. My wife's out of town with one of the kids, and my other one, I was like, she's on her iPad, just like glassy eyed right now, watching. I think it's like gerbils go through a maze or something or other. I don't know. One of our buddies, Taj, wrote, Brando. I feel bad for Bunin. He keeps texting me, but it's like I don't know how to help him at this point. How do you? It's like when your grandfather doesn't know how to use the remote control to get into the television.
He's used this software so many times. Like he's been on the show like 6 times, and
I know.
This is a bit. This is a bit.
It
He's
feels
doing
like a bit, like he's reaching
Right.
for something. I don't know
Yeah.
what's happening, but hopefully Mike will make an appearance. But let's talk kids. He doesn't have any kids anyway, so he was like, "Why am I even coming in?" And I go, "Sometimes it's fun to hear from I don't have kids." Where you're like,
No, it's not. It's never fucking fun to hear from me. I don't have kids.
What do you mean it's not fun?
No way.
Do you
No.
if you could go back? I always ask if you could go back in time, and you didn't know your children or your wife, it's not. There's no knowledge of them. You just know the concept of what children bring to your life.
Right.
But
Would you do it
question do I
Yeah.
know that I'm having twins, or do I?
No, that's well. If you know you're having twins, then no, that you're not having them. But if you go, hey, here's what kids are like. It's like I equate it to war, like flying home from Vietnam, going, wow, that was nothing like I thought it was going to be.
Right.
I don't want to go back. Some guys did want to go back because they just love that stuff. But would you redo?
Yeah, I definitely would.
Why?
Because I have Stockholm syndrome, and
Is somebody pointing? Listen, if somebody's pointing a gun at your head,
no.
blink.
My
Just
kids are
blink.
like they're right there. No, I did. Look, yeah, it's filled with all the frustration and all that stuff on a minute by minute basis, really. But God, I've never laughed so hard in my life. The stuff that's good is just so damn good. You can't even describe it. You can't. I remember, I'm sure, I'm positive. Like one friend of mine who's he's a big actor and he has 0 commitments in his life. So good for him. I remember.
At least he has a lot of money to spend on those 0 commitments.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know those people.
He was dating a young woman for a while and was getting pretty serious, and she and my wife were friendly. So of course that sort of talk kind of came up of like, do you think it's going to go there? And I remember, having a few and being at a dinner and kind of leaning into him, be like, "Oh, dude, it's great." All this stuff. Yeah, of course there's this shit. And he just looked at me and he went, "Then why would I do that?" Like,
hey, you got to leave logic out of the equation at some point, brother. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, you're getting up every day, at 5 a.m. and you're covered in filth and complaints most of the day. But oh God, it's wonderful. No, it is. I love it. My kids now are the age where, because it changes, doesn't it? It's like it's always a moving target. But
it's funny. It always is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're only.
Target ever move to Joy and stay there, or like?
Nah, it kind of hovers like Joy adjacent for like a second, and then it shifts back real quick.
Well, Jason has twins. His twins are nonverbal, so they've been it's been a little bit of problems.
How old are your twins?
They are 4.
4.
And like tonight at dinner, we had pizza for dinner, and they were covered in pizza sauce, and they can't communicate that they need their hands clean. So they just wiped them over me, and I looked like I had run nude through a tomato factory. It was not good. It was not good.
Well, my kid's 10, and she's overly verbal, and she does the same. The other day we were eating, and she was eating like rotisserie chicken, and then she reached up and said, "Daddy, I love you," and patted my hair. Oh. And I was like, "Did you just wipe chicken fat in my hair?" And she goes, "Oh, I guess I did." I was like, yeah, dude, that's not gonna change.
Wait, what age does that stop? Because
I don't think it ever stops.
You're still
just
there
today, my 5-year-old, who's like gigantor, by the way. He's like freakishly large. He's a ginger too. Do we all have gingers? Jason, do you have none of your kids?
None of them are gingers.
You get a ginger, Reid?
Oh yeah, Damon's a big ginger.
Big. Like red.
No, he's got he looks it's auburn. It's that sort of like rusty auburn. So he looks like Julianne Moore. you know. And he's got like long, like surfery hair, and he doesn't care. And he's like very sort of.
Oh, she's
like,
full on red. Yeah. Yeah. Amber Waves. Oh, she's Amber Waves. Yeah. She's full on. At 15, they won't even want to eat at the table with you anymore. So that's when it stops, says Missy Ann. Oh, that's it. My 10-year-old, I took her to school. She's doing like a school. I guess we're not in full school yet. So they were doing kind of these camp things at school. And so I took her this morning and she was in tears on the way to school. And I was like, well, what's the problem? What's the matter? And she goes, I don't know. And I go, oh, do you miss your mother because she's in New York or something? She's like, yeah, I guess. I go, what are you crying about? It's like for the whole ride, got nothing out of her. And at the end, she was just like, I'm just sad. And I go, all right, go with that then. I don't know what to tell you, but there's no rhyme. Every day, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm like, well, wow, what are we doing here? Making it harder than it needs to be. But yeah.
My son gets really anxious. My oldest son, who's a great kid, very smart, like athletic, has friends, all this kind of stuff. Like on paper, his life is pretty great. Yet he suffers from anxiety, like just born that way. Just came into the world very anxious, not like doom and gloom anxious, but he's always just sort of like, what time is it? And where are we going? And how long are we going to be there? And who's going to be there? What kind of food is it going to be? He needs to know everything all the time. So on the night we're already back in school. And so the night before the first day of school, he was like freaking the fuck out. I mean, he was like, I'm like tucking him in and he's like bouncing, like he's like levitating off the bed. He was so upset. I was like, dude, like what, why are you so upset? He's like, I'm so anxious. Like, why? Like, you love school. You love your teacher last year. You met Miss Fitzgerald. You know she's going to be great. All your friends are going to be there. And he's just like, I don't know, just because I don't know how it's going to be. And it's like, oh man, like it took me right back there to that age where everything is just so brand new, and there's always something to be kind of scared of or intimidated by or cry about, or you know, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And of course, he went to his first day of school and he had a great day. He had a totally great day, and he came back and he couldn't wait to go back for the second day and the third day and now the fourth day. But oh man, like, so I get it. And like on the way to school, he's just, you know, petrified, absolutely petrified. And I think we were talking about this. I'm like they have nothing to worry about in their life besides what flavor ice cream to order. Like that's, for the most part, that's their biggest challenge in life.
My kids are so spoiled. It's not even funny, man. I mean, yeah. I barely ate out as a kid, and every day my kid's like, hey, we should go out to dinner. Where are we ordering from tonight? I'm like, yes. I go, yes. I made her like chicken and carrot. I made a bunch of veggies with rice and some rotisserie chicken or whatever tonight. And she was like, what? I thought we were going out for ramen. I was like, dude. Autumn says, hey, Jamie, did you ever find the front end of your car? Did you see it, Reid? I showed you, I didn't. They stole the middle. They stole the front of my car.
Yeah, they did.
I got my car back. So if you're the person who stole the front of my car, there's a whole new front of my car waiting to be taken again. They took the plate. I don't have the plate. They took the whole plate. So yeah, no, I got the front of the car back. And
what kind of car is it?
It's a Lexus. I guess it's not nothing. It's a Lamborghini Countach. Countach is it pronounced? I believe. Yeah. I don't know.
Is it like is that part like a coveted part? I know like everyone in LA is getting their catalytic converter stolen.
Yeah. So the guy at the body shop, it's really funny, man, because it's like those smash and grabs. Like it's so crazy to me that people are not afraid of any repercussions. 30 people went into a Louis Vuitton store in Glendale, smashed through, took everything, left in cars, apparently that had no plates on them. Nobody got caught. 30 people. You're telling me the helicopter that's over my head, like day and night, can't follow? Like they're just, and you get fired now in a store if you actually trying to accost a shoplifter. They fired people. It's the policy of like, really? Hands off, turn around and let them go and don't worry about it. And that's why, you know, some of the stores are shutting down in major urban areas like San Francisco or whatever. But
well, I mean, it's terrible to hear, but I'm like, sort of like, well, now I want to try it.
Dude, we could totally get. Dude, I was looking to get.
Let me know the weekend. I'll fly out.
Yes, fly in. We just wear black clothes.
And if we say now that we're doing it as a social experiment,
right?
This is our alibi. Like it's recorded, and you know,
it's like
hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of people are watching this podcast right now.
Have you ever
And
thought about doing crime like where you like not
Daily.
not to get the money daily, but do you? I always am like, I feel like I could get away with it. I feel like I feel like I could. You know,
I
it's
do.
like Heat. He's like,
If
look,
you can be a parent, you can get away with crime.
that's right.
You have to, right? You're constantly thinking. You're juggling logistics and shit all the time. You're always whispering and conspiring with your significant other.
Jamie, I think now that I have brain lesions,
this one and like get away from that one. It's like, please. I drive like a maniac with my kids in the car, so I'm clearly not intimidated about.
And you're
putting
drunk
myself in
probably a
harm's
lot of
way.
the time with them in the car.
Constantly drunk.
Yeah, hammered.
Yeah.
How else? And when the cop pulls you over, he goes, "Have you been drinking? How else am I supposed to deal with these two maniacs? You want them?" That's what
I think they're just making sure when they ask you.
Yeah, because he like sometimes he'll be like, "Have you been drinking?" And you go, "No," and he goes, "Oh, did you want some?" And a lot of times a lot of cop cars, they just have the keg right in the back, and they'll fill you up for the ride.
Sir, you seem upset. Have you been drinking? Well, you might want to fix that.
Yes, yeah. I mean, how do you get through parenthood without it? I've often thought about, obviously people love. I think that's why people love these murder mystery like serial killer stuff, because everyone's like, I think I could get away with it. I think I could get away with it.
So, Jamie, do you think now that I have brain lesions, I could get away with crime?
Yeah, Jason has brain lesions, and the way he found out is his arms were going numb. He just had numb arms, and he was like,
couldn't use them. My left arm was completely useless. I like it literally wouldn't raise or anything.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that, man.
No, trust me.
Jamie tears me apart about it daily.
What do they do? Like, what do you do for? Nothing?
I mean, they're trying to find.
Bunan's here.
Yeah, Bunan's been. I was waiting for you to introduce him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't say any of his credits, but he was on a show. Well, we can't even say shows, but he went shopping for something. Yeah, that's right. You go shopping in a place where they have a lot of items, and then they film that. He might have been there.
And he might have been. And he shipped his pants.
He shipped his pants for sure at another store we can't talk about. And
our commercials okay?
Oh, commercials are okay. That was from Kmart. Yeah, and then he was on a show about some men who aren't quite men. They're younger men. Please welcome Mike Bunin.
Mike,
that's one of the most memorable introductions I've ever gotten.
Honestly, Michael, and honestly, well deserved. Well deserved.
I had a story about the catalytic converter bit, but that was 28 minutes ago, so I'm going to let that pass.
Did you lose your converter? Did someone steal your converter too?
Twice in 90 days. Twice.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so this is adjacent to a converter story, but a good friend of mine, his niece lives with him. His niece is, I think she's 19, 20. And this is sort of speaking about the younger generations. I feel like as parents, this is apropos to the conversation. So he was telling me that a couple weeks ago, she got her catalytic converter stolen. And she's a bit of a TikToker. She's got like a pretty decent following on TikTok and Instagram and whatever. And her uncle said to her, he's like, "Oh, do you want me to loan you some money to help you pay for it?" And she said, "Nah, I'll start a GoFundMe. Don't even worry about it." And he said within 6 hours, she had enough money to get her catalytic converter repaired, and she was back on the road, no problem.
And a trip to Cancun, like the whole thing was paid for. It's fantastic.
It was really quite remarkable. Like that wouldn't even cross my mind to be like, let me just put it out there on people's, better nature and see if like 3,000 people kick in a buck.
I don't generally rely on people's better nature.
No, right?
That's the whole theory of Patreon.
But they got it figured out. That generation has it figured out. Like they can get anything they want whenever they want. It's pretty amazing.
Patreon. I know I have friends. They have like 4,000 or 5,000 fans. Each fan pays like $3, and that's $15,000 a month for their show and stuff. And I think it's a pretty cool way to do it. But I will tell you, GoFundMe's for stuff like that, where you're like, "Hey, listen, my kid's going back to school, and I gotta get a new iPad for her." So the GoFundMe's here. If you guys could just all chip in and help me buy my kid an iPad, that would be fantastic.
Right.
That's how it works pretty much these days, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
It used to be like major tragedies, like huge, like, my house burned down, everybody's gone. And now it's like I feel
Or in
I'm
fairness,
50.
even something, like with a family, like, baby born and needs a little extra help. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. I give you that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, looks like I'm gonna need a retainer. $5,000, everybody. If you
Yeah.
could just throw a couple bucks in to straighten my teeth, I feel like that would be super helpful.
Give me $100 and I will punch whoever in the mouth and straighten their teeth.
That's a really good GoFundMe to set up. It's like I'm setting up a GoFundMe to get Mike Bunin to just ring this guy's doorbell. When he answers the door, he's just going to punch him in the
I
I
understand
will
you
Venmo
want
that money
adult
right
braces.
now.
I'm donating money as we speak.
Exactly.
Go.
You know somebody that needs adult braces? Call
Bam.
Bunin.
Before we came on, Mike, we were talking about, the big thing with the strike is, and not just our business, but every business, AI, right? And so, and I get it that AI, we should be all worried about it, like with acting, especially in writing. But we were talking about, I read this article, how the ramifications of AI on everything 10 years down the road, how white collar jobs are gone.
Yes.
And we were talking about, I want my kids to be plumbers. Like, I don't know how many people out there are like tradespeople, but they're like, the plumber comes to the house and he gives you an estimate and he go, it took 5 phone calls to get one plumber to come to your house. He finally comes out. He could literally go, it's going to be $25,000. And you'd be like,
fine.
yeah, just do it, man. Just because what are you going to do? Go, no, that's too much. Let me get a second opinion and have somebody come over, because I mean, they really have you over a barrel. The guy comes over, and obviously plumber's not like a rando, like, hey, let's build a patio. Plumber's like, we need this now. This is going to be fixed in the next 20 minutes.
Right.
That guy could literally ask, he goes, I'm going to need your firstborn, your car, $25K. And you'd be like, yes, fine. Yes, I'm in.
Like, what if I give you both kids?
And I keep the money.
Yeah. A pack of Z-bars.
I'm a terrible haggler too. I'm so bad at it. People go a price and I either go yes or no. I'm never like,
yeah.
He goes $25K. I always go, well, how about 15 or something? And then in the back of his head, he's like just putting in like, pipe made out of rice paper or something just to torture me. Like, I don't know. I'm terrible at bartering.
When I was 14 at the swap meet behind Samstown Casino, I got taught the best lesson by an old hustler over there named Sid Pincus, who told me, he said, just remember these 2 sentences. And I walked up to the first table for the item that I tried to haggle earlier, like couldn't get. So I found it at another table. And this time I walked up and they said, are you interested in that? And I said, what's your best price? And they gave me a number. And my immediate response was, bullshit. What's your best price?
At 14, by the way.
Knocked off $3. I took it and walked away.
What's the second piece of advice?
You don't want to know. He was a disgusting man.
The second piece of advice was go get in my van and take your pants off. Wait, how does that have to do with haggling?
Probably something about
Don't
how to
ever smell a handkerchief that smells like this.
You ever smell chloroform? You ever smell chloroform? They say there's a hint of lavender in it. I don't smell it. You
That's
tell
how I
me.
ended up with twins.
You tell me.
I would say no. He was more the kind of guy that, like, when I got older, I was like, wow, he gave me the worst advice on how to meet girls ever.
What is that?
Just like, that's not how you ask a girl out, I don't think.
Wait, what was his advice?
Girls like volume. They love volume.
It was sort of just like a take 'em here, take 'em there.
Take him to the zoo? Do you take him to the zoo?
Basically, it was from Rocky.
Hey,
Honestly, though, nice guy.
Nice guy. Well, this is a good train of thought for a parenting show. Is we had actually Andrea Barber did the show the other night, and she was fantastic. And so we often ask, what are pieces of advice you got from your parents that you pass on to your kids? And I always say with my kids, when they get older, they're gonna go, ugh, if they ever hear focus on the task at hand, it's gonna bring back PTSD of their father, of like, just finish what you're doing, focus on the task at hand, and then do everything else. And she said hers was pretty good too, which I've always employed. And I think it's like one of the traits of super successful people is Ohio. Only handle it once. Whenever you pick it up, finish it. which is kind of similar to mine, but she had that was her point of view from her dad. And I said, that's a great piece of advice.
Good one.
Obviously, Mike, being the Vegas guy, you've had a million. Reid, do you have advice that you either give to your kids or that you remember getting from your parents?
Wait. Because I don't have kids, I got nothing to offer.
You have nothing to offer.
I
I went to him because
I had a father and he gave me advice. And if I had children, I might.
Well, then why are you getting advice at a swap meet behind the convention center from some
That was
dude
from
in a
Sid
van?
Pickus, and A+ got me a fucking Alice Cooper bandana for $3 less.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good piece of
That was
advice.
a bargain, Jamie. Don't give Bunin such a hard time.
I know. Listen,
I don't know what could my life mean? I don't have kids. I'm not fulfilled. How could I understand right and wrong, good and evil?
well, you can think about that as you sleep in tomorrow.
Oh,
and then
you're right.
go to lunch
Because
and
I
get
can
high.
sleep in, no moral compass. Worst human being in the world. You know what, guys? I'm going to break this show down for you real quick. Here's a new teaser for you. Hey, the Parents Lounge. Come and watch a bunch of people bitching about a decision they made. A choice. You chose to have these kids. I should host this show.
Well,
Honestly,
yeah.
that's a great.
It's a
Yes.
great idea.
And that's why. So when I called Mike today, it's like, why would I be on the show? I go, come on, you got a lot of stuff to talk about. Apparently,
My father's advice that I would pass on to my kids,
don't have kids.
would be he once told me, he said, don't ever own a car you're not willing to smash to make a point.
Ooh,
That's intense.
that is dark. I fucking love that.
I listen. Yes.
Wait,
In theory.
wait a second.
Wait. I'm not looking for approval.
Would your dad often smash cars just to make a point? I picture your dad driving down, like the street, like no way was Bucky Dent the best third baseman. Bang.
Not that extreme, but I can think of at least 2 instances where the car was getting repaired because he made a point. 3.
Wow,
Excuse me, 3.
Hey, Dad, where's the car? I made a point.
And it's like he takes an extra minute or two to decide which golf club he uses the least. So that's the one he cracks the windshield with, right?
No,
I
my
want to
father
know
didn't golf.
the story of who
Like
instilled
a
that in
6
him.
iron, probably a 6 iron. I would say is used the least.
My father carried a roll of dimes. That was his 6 iron.
He didn't have he didn't bad boys it like Sean Penn with the Coke cans and the pillowcase.
No.
yeah.
My father said all he needed was he said, I just don't need that much help. I only need a little bit of help. That's what he used to
A
say.
roll of dimes, not even quarters.
I take
Nope.
out that roll of dimes. I take one out. I put it in the phone. I call my guy.
He hit a guy one time. He hit a guy one time at the bank in the early 90s, and the dimes exploded when he hit them, and they went all over the floor. And when the security guard came up, my father said, "Don't touch me," and call the cops. And he said, I started picking up my dimes, and he said, the guy looked at me and he said, "What do you got so many dimes for?" And my father said, "I make a lot of phone calls. What's it to you?" I was like, "Dad, it's 94. Like, even if there is a pay phone, it's not a dime, but okay."
Hey. So, Reid, any advice on your side from?
Yeah. My dad always had one. And, like all dads, just had him on like a loop, like a fucking loop. I can't tell you how many times I heard it, but it actually did stick with me. And I have caught myself saying it out loud to my kids. Mostly it's when they get frustrated about something or they're down on themselves about something. And it was, my dad would always say to me, never forget that you are never a finished product. And it took me years to sort of unpack that. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. And it applies to a lot, like, because you're constantly changing, you're constantly growing, you're constantly learning. So you're never sort of like hitting the idea of like you're hitting your peak or like your maximum self or whatever the hell you want to call it is such a fallacy because you're constantly changing in new ways and your eyes are open to things that they weren't open to before. And you see, like, with my son, he's a baseball player and he gets real down on himself if he's not doing something. He's the kind of kid, like, if he doesn't get it right immediately, he gets real pissed. And it's like, dude, like, this is incredibly hard what you're trying to do. Don't get so frustrated. He's the anxious one. It's like, slow down, take your time. It's not always going to be like this. You're not always going to be someone who doesn't know how to do something. Soon you will know how to do it. Soon you will know how to do it really well. And it keeps evolving and evolving and evolving. I'm like, that's why you see, to use the sports analogy, these with the supportive dad. Haha. No. I didn't mean to imply that I was raised by a supportive dad. No. This was like in between, sort of like, never forget that you're not a finished product.
I was trying to hold in the laughter for you, Reid. I saw that comment.
You think you're so smart? You're not a finished product. He's like, there's still time for you to fuck it up. I know what you're about.
Also, you can talk to your kids and go, hey, no matter how, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. You listen. You can practice. You're going to get better, but don't ever forget that there's always going to be someone better than you at whatever you're doing. Mostly me.
Yeah.
One day, Claire will play basketball with me in the back, and we'll shoot baskets. And she's actually beat me in horse. But it's always like, the Reid Scott shirt came out. If you can't read that, Mike Bune is wearing a shirt that says, "In Reid Scott we trust." I had those made, didn't I?
I believe you did.
And it was for a show that we were on that we can't talk about, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows what that show is.
Yes.
And it was funny because that was season 1 where we were, and everyone was like, I just knew. I go, this is going for a while. And everyone was kind of like, I don't know. And it was all about Reid. I mean, we just grabbed Reid's coattails and.
No, they were like, everybody was like, don't jinx it. And I was like, do you see Reid Scott here? You think the network wastes time on Reid Scott?
Nobody wastes time on Reid Scott.
We're going for a few.
We did.
Yeah. We did. Yeah. It's all good.
Jason,
and
I feel like we've shut you out. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Jason's had a day, brother. His kids were driving him absolutely insane today. He's been up since like 5:30 taking care of children and losing his mind. He's the one who needs the most parental mental health. He comes in and has a drink and hangs and talks. But yes, for the love of God, Jason, make us all feel better about our lives for a couple seconds.
Well, we already led with brain lesions. I don't know where I go from there.
You started with the easy stuff. Come on.
So anyway, Reid, we have a gallows humor because he goes, "Ugh, dude, my arms are numb." And I go, "Oh, that must be awesome. You can masturbate. And it's like you're with somebody else."
Somebody new every day. Yeah,
new every day.
Because it's varying degrees of numb. So it really is like a different person every time.
Just enough sensation to be able to tell what it is that you're doing. But
right.
Yeah.
But it's like being with somebody else. It's pretty great. And obviously free. Then he doesn't have to get hookers anymore, which is really saving a lot of money on.
No.
Wait, what?
It's hurt the economy here, though.
Oh, that whole town is shut down. There's nothing going on. There's a lot of people who they're protesting in front of your house right now with picket signs like "Come back, Jason."
You can't hear them there. We have our own strike going on here.
Well, Mike's school's still starting up again, and so
it's exciting.
I was talking earlier. Hannah's a little. She's been a little moody, and it's like the end of summer. And it's 5th grade, which apparently is when homework starts to get. She was like, "Dad, 5th grade, they give you homework over the weekend." Ooh. And I was like, well, that's even better because then instead of having to do it in the 1 hour after swim practice, you can take the whole weekend to do it. And she was like, "That's not the answer I was looking for, really." But it is weird when they start to have to do real work. Say again.
Parent, may I give you guys advice as a parent? Yes. Next time your child says they give you homework on the weekends now, and you should say, "Children give me homework for life." Right?
Yeah.
And I think they'll learn the lesson that they need to get a job immediately.
I was just going to read the Cliff Notes.
Dude, I don't think there's jobs out there, man. I was talking this the other day. I went to McDonald's. There's not even people working there. There was a kiosk. I had to push a button, and then the food just slid out from like a robot in the back. And I don't know. I don't think there's jobs much anymore.
Is there a world, though? Is there a world where AI comes through in such a way that we haven't even because right now everyone can only imagine the doom and gloom side of it. And I tend to sort of fall that way myself when I really let myself go down that rabbit hole. But is there a world where AI makes everything just so fucking great?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay.
But
in what is it? Service? Is it just like speed?
I think it's going to be in science in particular. I think we're going to have the ability to think faster than we can think and do things and work things out quicker. And I think there's going to be hopefully some medical. What are you pointing now? What am I in trouble? AI will do this weekend.
Narcolepsy. We have some really funny people who,
yes, we do.
who chime in.
Yes,
Freddie
we do.
B
Hi,
just showed
everybody.
up. Joey
Hello.
Steelers is here, and Narcolepsy crushes it every show.
Yes.
And he's like, AI will do the kids' weekend homework.
But I'm telling you, you can't let them. Okay, there's two studies that stick out in my mind. The second one is that recently they studied 2 AI bots that they made to communicate with each other, but invariably the AI bots realized that they were being recorded and watched, so they created their own language to speak in that we couldn't understand.
Wow. I was gonna say, did they start fucking? It was like, and they had like little tiny bots, and it was like, oh, the first bot's born
And the
again.
second is every time, or at least the 2 studies I've read, one 10 years ago and one again in the last couple of years, I want to say, where they take sort of a fake, this is the computer that controls everything for the US, and they put AI in. Within about 12 minutes, it starts to wars with everybody that it considers a threat. So it's very war games from our generation.
Yeah.
Did you see James Cameron? Go ahead, Jason.
No, the AI me has hit on my wife.
What do you
know-
really have? Wait.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the second time you've mentioned this. You have
Yes.
you have an
There's
AI?
a functioning AI me, yes.
Jason, tell them the story. This is insane and awesome. And when you talk about the positivity of AI, this is it right
Yes.
here. Listen to this.
So after all the health issues that my wife and I had, we had kind of reached out to a company and we were working with them on developing the beta testing side of their AI product, which they're using in the grief space and also with like families who have members overseas who can't like be there for, Cub Scouts and all, read bedtime stories, all those things. So we were helping them beta test. And mine is so good. And Jamie's talked to it. It's hard to tell the difference between me and it vocally at this point.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it has my mannerisms and style and my cadence and the way I like that I'll stutter in a certain sentence, all of that down, and it makes the same jokes I do almost at the same time I do. Like he was flirting with my wife.
It's Jor-El
Wow.
in
Wow.
Superman when he goes to the Fortress of Solitude and he talks to his father. It's exactly that. Like you can ask the AI questions and it will respond using the world of everything on the internet, but it will be in his cadence, his tone, his voice pattern.
Well, and here's the other thing about it, Jamie. It is starting to pull from the internet too. So it has brought you up a few times, and I had never specifically mentioned you, but it has talked about you to Jace and to Melissa.
Here's what's crazy. It has the
You
whole
better watch
internet.
out. I mean,
It's
that-
way
that's what I
smarter
was
than
saying.
you. Wait, what?
Don't be
better
pissing off
watch out.
AI, Jamie.
Yeah.
So
AI JG has been asking about JK, and this is going to be a fucking.
I
KIA
told them to
machine.
put a kill switch in it because I know the only thing that ever stopped me from attempting global domination was the fact that I'm built like one of the Flintstones. Those physical limitations stop me. He doesn't have those physical limitations, and he will eventually, when he finds a robot body suitable, he will go for it.
Our buddy Mark Seaman, who, by the way, wrote a new
Mark.
theme song that we haven't shared yet because we want to have him on the show. He actually wrote us a song that is fantastic.
It's really funny.
We have a new opening song that's coming. And he says, now I never have to miss another Knicks game while my wife hangs with AI me. I didn't even think about that when your wife's like, hey, you got a minute to talk? Yeah. Click and put it on.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, what's the problem? Like it would just
I
come
just
in.
want to catch up. I just want to catch up.
I just want to catch up. My wife always talks to me like she won't talk to me all day. I'll go, hey, everything good? She's like, yeah, everything's good. And then like literally the second I close my eyes and start to hit REM, she's like, hey, listen, something really important I need to talk to you about. And you're like, dude, she's just like the worst timing. Does Reid know? Does your wife do that?
Yeah, my wife loves to talk. Just talk about anything, anytime. She's a great conversationalist, but yeah, as I'm like, it's always, and she likes to go to bed early too, which is weird. Like I always like come to bed after I think she's going to be asleep. And as I'm getting to bed, she'll be like, hey, so I just want to talk like pickup schedule real quick. I'm like, oh fuck, like
Which is the last thing I want to talk about. I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm trying to shut my brain off.
like, none of this is gonna stick, honey. None of it's gonna stick. This is no. Go ahead. It's okay.
I'm the same. So when I go to bed, typically around 7:15, after an early bird dinner at Red Lobster, my wife will be like, she'll just come in and be like, she won't talk to me while I'm like awake, and then as soon as I start to sleep, she's like, something really important I need to talk about. And then of course it's like a trip next summer that she wants. I'm like, really? This is what's important at this point? Crazy.
My wife, she likes it. She checks her messages before she goes to bed, and then she turns the phone off, and that's it. But so often we'll be like lying in bed, just about to fall asleep. I'm all tucked in, and she'll be reading her phone. I'll just hear her go, oh, "Fuck," and then and of course I'm like, "What? What?" It's like, nothing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Go back. Like, no, now what? Oh no, forget it. It's not even worth mentioning. Just tell me what the fuck it is. It's like, oh, Shelby said that they're not doing that trunk sale at the thing that they were going to do. So like my heart has leapt out of my chest to find out.
Dude, we're all living the same life.
Yeah.
The same, like, and you thought that was that's a no fuck moment?
That's a no fuck?
That's a no fuck? Oh, that's
Yeah,
weird.
Michael?
I might not be living that.
Oh, you don't have that life.
I might not be living that, Jamie.
Oh, you're not. Okay. Well,
Do you want me to download the AI made?
Mike,
I'm saying I haven't gotten married, so I might not be living that sort of.
Trust me, you're doing really quick. I want to quote Emmy Stroman here, who says, "It works well until your wife leaves you for the AI." That's kind of funny.
Honestly, it works well.
Well, it's her. Remember hers a long time ago too, with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Did you ever see it?
Yes.
And he falls in love with the AI voice or something. That had to be, what was that, 10 years ago? And everyone laughed of like, oh, science fiction. That's science fiction. And now you're like, that's tomorrow.
No,
that's
here.
Tuesday for me.
I know.
Yeah.
Mike, what's it like to go to bed at night without somebody else like moving next to you and getting up to pee 5 times and telling
currently
you?
You're describing exactly how I spend my evenings. I move a lot trying to fall asleep. I get up to pee 5 times, and I'm constantly waking myself up to remind myself about Sally's bath schedule tomorrow.
Well, you have your own obsession.
So I'm just saying, I'm my own worst enemy here, guys.
You kind of are. Do you? Yeah. You know what I've been starting to do, and my wife doesn't love it, but my daughter does. And since my wife's out of town, my daughter will not sleep. Her bedroom's on the front side of the house, and our bedroom's on the upstairs in the back. And so day one, she's like, "Oh, I'm not sleeping down there by myself. No way." So she's been in my bed all week, and I love sound. I have the Rain app where I do like ocean waves. Kind of brings me back to my 20s when I lived on the ocean. And I like sound when I'm sleeping. You guys?
Yes,
I do.
Yes.
Yeah. Noise
like the green noise.
Yeah.
The green noise?
Oh, it's green.
Yeah. There's green. They got all different color noises now. There's white noise, brown noise, green noise.
Is the green noise just Charlton Heston going, "They're people. It's all people"?
That's the Soylent Green noise. That's the
Soylent Green noise. I got confused. Okay,
yes.
Soylent Green noise. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the flavored noise. That's the color.
If it just like emits aroma at the same. Yeah. Yeah. They probably have.
It's
that.
all in like that white noise feeling. But the green noise is like I don't know, guys. It just sounds green.
Fresh. It's a fresh
It's
noise.
funny how a sound can be a color, because my Hannah got a present from her aunt, and it's this water infusion system where the water has it combines these flavor pods into the water, but there's no taste. It makes the water smell. And when you drink the water, you're tasting it through your smell. Have you heard of this?
It seems like a long way to get there, right? It's like, just put some fucking flavor in it.
No, that's what I said. She was like, "Well, it's what it does is it infuses it with a cherry smell." And I was like, "Why don't you just put cherry flavor in it?" It's not how it works, Jamie. It's a smell. Is there also a cherry hearing one where you put a cherry thing and it goes? You can hear cherries, But you can't taste them or smell them. You can only hear them in it.
My
Guys,
5-year-old.
I got a new soda. Here's what you do. Just make sure you're around your phone at 8 o'clock. It's gonna call you. It tastes fucking great.
Freddie B goes, that's just LaCroix. That's exactly. Every time I drink a LaCroix, I'm like, I guess
It's all the same flavor. That's the
Sorry,
thing.
Joshua.
See,
Different colors.
to me, LaCroix tastes like green noise.
Yeah.
Reid, what were you gonna say about it?
Well, no, I was gonna say my 5-year-old, like a couple weeks ago, he tasted something. I forget what the heck it was. It was like, some sort of dip or something like that. And I was like, and he's a real picky eater. He like, both of my kids, one will eat everything, literally everything. He'll eat like sea urchin. He doesn't care. Like he's just interested. And he's really into it. It's cool. And then the little guy, like a lot of little kids, is, pizza, chicken nuggets, French fries, shit like that. And he tasted, and I finally got him to taste something. I forget what the heck it was now, but he tasted it and he went, tastes like the color beige. And I was like, hold on a second. I took a bite of it too. I was like, holy shit, it does taste like
What does beige taste like?
it just boring, and like it was like, oh yeah, you don't want to eat that. It's like
Oatmeal, I would
it's
say.
fucking beige.
There's a sousance of cinnamon. There's a hints of elderberries. No? Okay. My kids are picky. My wife's picky. Like, my wife won't eat leftovers, which just drives me crazy.
Really?
It drives me so crazy. She will not eat leftovers. And she's almost kind of trained the kids. Like, even like leftover pizza, where a lot of times leftover pizza is actually kind of better than the first
Better,
one.
yeah. It's had a
I
little time to
know.
sit.
And she's like, I don't eat that. My kid's like, I don't
Mark
eat that.
Seaman wants to know if I'll adopt him after his wife leaves him. Yes, Mark. And Joshua, I'm sorry that we spoiled Soylent Green.
I know. By the way, Joshua was the one who he reached out today. He was watching an episode of a program that we completed, and it was the funny because I had posted the picture of the three of us with the mustaches, and he was like, "Oh my god, I was watching that today." We won't say the show or where he was watching it, but it's really funny. We all grew. Remember, we grew mustaches, and we said when we come back, we would do a mustache thing. And so we all had mustaches. And then we shot all that week, and they needed a shot of me without a mustache. But I had the mustache in the next episode. So I spent 3 months growing a mustache. I shot for 3 days with it. They shaved it off. And then the next week, they made a fake mustache. And I shot the whole next week with a fake mustache on, which was insane because the first mustache looked fake anyway. Nobody ever thought that was a real mustache. They were like, it's so funny, the three mustaches, Mike. You had like the crazy Fu Man.
Yes.
I had
Yes.
the
Can we
Wyatt
get
Earp.
a picture? Can we get the picture up? Can we show the
Where is
picture?
it? Is it?
Yeah, good call.
Jason,
You should be able to load it into the.
It's
in
on
there,
our
Jamie.
story. It was one of my stories on there today. I know. I should have pulled a bunch of pictures up. But yeah, we all had the mustaches.
get it,
We grew them
Jamie.
that whole year. It was kind of crazy, man.
I remember seeing you. Actually, I forget, we did some golf thing or something like that together. Kind of halfway through the off
You
season.
mean the Albert Pujols celebrity golf
It
tournament?
might have been that. I don't think it was that. It was something else though. I remember
By the
seeing
way, oh my God, I still have Albert Pujols merch, which is probably worth money. He signed all this stuff.
So do I.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
You got it.
Arguably one of the handful of greatest players to ever play the game.
Absolutely. And an amazing guy. Really cool guy.
I'm just kidding.
But I remember seeing you guys maybe with like 3 weeks to go before we were going to come back and shoot that episode. And I remember, I forget who, one of you guys was like, dude, look at your mustache. Like, that's it? I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's going to fill in. They're like, there's no time. Reid, why did you start so late? I'm like, relax. Relax. Like,
You had the Errol Flynn.
he
did.
The mustache ghosts are going to come out. Don't worry about
You won the mustache contest, didn't you?
it. I think I did.
I
don't
did
think
not,
that's-
and I was super
I don't think
angry.
that's fair.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Nobody ever thought that was a real mustache on me. They go, that's not real. Nobody.
Nope.
Look at that color. Look at that rich, rusty color.
No.
On
Yeah.
that upper lip.
Is that what
It's
your
just
son's as a
incredible.
redhead? Is it? Does
Yeah,
he
it kind of is. It's pretty similar to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids are bright gingies, like your buddy Matt Walsh. I saw today. His kids are bright red hairs too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We're hanging it together. That's so funny. It was really fun to grow that over the year. It's always fun to grow something when you're like, oh, and people go, hey, you doing that for real? Yeah. I'm sure De Niro was like that. He was putting on 60 pounds for Raging Bull, and he was like at a local at the supermarket. They go, oh, you putting that on for the, I got a big movie coming out. I'm trying to bulk out a little bit.
Part of the fun was also growing a mustache in an era where like nobody wore mustaches and getting all those like really funny. And now it's like everyone has a beard and a mustache.
Everybody has a mustache and they make their own furniture.
Beige is the taste of the fake mustache flavor saver.
Dude, Narcolepsy, are you writing a book? Do you have like a book of jokes or something? Every week he just destroys. That guy changed my tire last week. Oh, that's so funny. It's so funny too. I was telling everybody, I go, oh, these guys were my groomsmen. I mean, that was kind of funny because I've worked on so many things before. You know, we have friends who have runs on shows and stuff, but because we were so tight and we were all on the same page, like we were the same kind of guys that we hung, the four of us, you and Kyle. I still play golf with Kyle all the time. Mm-hmm. That when it was funny to have everybody's, they were like, really? They were your groups? We're like, oh yeah, dude. I mean, that was kind of the run of the era.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we did play ping pong every day at lunch to the point where they almost took the table away because we went to shoot in the afternoon and I was so soaking wet. We were all so soaking wet from playing like killer
mostly
ping pong.
You would start sweating as soon as we said ping pong.
Well, to be fair, that's when they got the coffee machine. Remember the crazy coffee machine? So by like 10 a.m. it was so delicious. And you always hang at Crafty. I was on like cup number 23 and I was like, hey, how's everybody doing? You guys good? Everybody good? I'm like sweating. The wardrobe woman's like, hey, they were buying like 2 and 3 shirts for me because I was sweating out every shirt that they gave me. Do you remember when I told you that they gave me underwear? Who did I tell? Was that Reid?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
and me, actually, I bought it for a day. I was like, what are you talking about?
Tell them.
I loved it. I was like, yeah, you kidding me? Like, I think I asked them, like, wow, do you bring like changes of undergarments? Or like, no, they give me underwear every morning. I'm like, what? Like, you come here and you change like everything, including your underwear, comes off, and then you put on the wardrobe? You're like, yeah, totally. What do you do? And honestly, it got me for a minute. I was like,
and he told me it was new underwear every time.
Yes. And I was like, that's a fucking baller move, dude. Like, I didn't even think to ask for that. I'm going to start asking for brand new underwear.
I guess that was in my contract. That it was the Don Simpson clause where I had Don Simpson never wore this. He wore a new pair of jeans every day. Did you know that?
No, did he?
No, I know Jerry Lewis.
It's an urban legend of Don Simpson, but Don Simpson Bruckheimer made Top Gun, all the crazy movies.
Yeah.
And he also liked to we'll talk about that later, but he liked to do certain things with women that probably is whatnot. We'll talk about that. But he only they gave him a new pair of black jeans every day. And he wore that pair of black jeans. And then that pair of black jeans went away. And then the next day he put on a new pair of black jeans.
God, I wonder where they all went.
Somewhere there's like in Liberia, there's a lot of kids wearing like black jeans.
Don Simpson black jeans. Yep, that's what's happening. Jerry Lewis socks too, because he wouldn't wear socks twice in a row. So somewhere there's a country with kids, they're all just in Don Simpson jeans and Jerry Lewis socks.
That's got to be a pretty amazing time in your life. If you got that kind of juice, when you hit that level of sort of like, here I am wearing a fucking used pair of jeans like a sucker. Like, I should have fresh jeans every fucking day coming out of like a dispenser, like a tissue box, just like boop. Just keep pulling out brand new garments of clothing. The amount of waste that you can generate, but also saying like, no, I deserve it.
I deserve it. I'm not you. You wear the same clothes. I don't wear the same clothes.
Well, I mean, that is kind of the world we live in now because the disparity of wealth is so great that a guy has actually gone like, hey, listen, man, I'm thinking about getting a yacht. And they go, well, we
what
have
kind?
Well, I don't know, but I don't think I could be happy with anything less than $500 million
No, you wouldn't even want it.
Honestly, I would run it ashore and burn it.
Piece
Well, I have this
disgusted you
beautiful
brought it up.
400 million. It won't work, Jamie.
Mm-mm.
I need,
100 million. I gotta sit on it with the shades down. It's
I
embarrassing.
mean, it's embarrassing, Jamie. I need a half. It has to be a $500 million, $500 million yacht.
I want a boat so big that they're gonna have to knock down a historic bridge for me to get it out of the port.
Mm-hmm.
How many days do you think that of the year that billionaire is on that $500 million yacht? By the way, not just $500 million yacht, but then fully staffed.
No. In fairness, Jamie, he's on that thing like 3-4 days a year.
Okay, that makes sense then. I didn't understand. Okay, so that's okay. Okay, 3 to 4 days a year.
And some of them are like half days where it's just an afternoon, like just a brunch kind of thing.
Yeah.
You just chop her in real quick.
Yeah.
There's a
Brunch,
yacht captain
and
who's
then
probably
chop her
making
out.
$500,000 a year, just arguably sail 4 days a year.
So if you think about it, that person's a philanthropist. They're keeping the staff on board. I mean, like they're
Thank
really,
you. They're creating jobs.
you know, absolutely. They're creating jobs
Let me ask
by
you,
withholding money that could put at 500 million.
as a human being,
You put 100 million kids through college.
maybe buy fresh water and internet for millions of people in this country who still don't have, by the way,
Excuse
fresh
me,
water.
but Jamie,
All right, that's it. I'm a socialist. Never mind. Burn.
there's a chocolate waterfall though. You understand?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
So, but
Okay.
do you have the marshmallows on the skewers that you can dip into the chocolate?
No, I have somebody that does it.
Of course
for
you
me.
do. What are we even fucking talking about here? Do you have the marshmallows and the fucking skewers?
Brando!
Brando!
We should have the real Brando on. One day we should have the real Brando.
We
on.
should.
You know, we have talked about, and we're going to end up, as soon as the strike ends, I think we're going to do a rewatch. Let me ask you, Reid, have you watched any episodes of the show that we cannot name, the show not to be named, since? Remember, we always used to meet up on the show night, and we would hang at our old friend Jamie Tarsus.
Jamie Tarsus.
Rest in peace. We love her. We used to go to her house and watch the show. I have not watched an episode since then. Not a one.
No, I
Me
don't
neither.
think so.
No, I don't know that I've ever seen an episode past its initial airing. Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Of anything I've ever done, really, and many
No.
things I've
I have
never
a hard
seen.
time watching it. Yeah.
I was just saying,
You
there's
know,
a lot of
actually, I
things-
remember that about you, Reid. You do not like watching yourself.
I really
I
don't.
haven't seen most things. I'm with Reid on this. I haven't seen most things that I've actually been on.
Here's what's crazy. I can't stand watching myself, but I love watching Reid.
Jamie, I do it every day. I drive down the block like around 3 a.m. with binoculars. I just
Yeah,
wait
you know,
for the
there's
girl.
this weird blinking light outside my window. Most
No,
nights.
that's security. Don't
It's
worry
me.
about it. That's fine.
Oh.
That's me. Oh, that's Jamie. Sorry.
I'm okay. I can watch myself and be fairly, because I've watched so much of my stand up to cut clips or to rewrite bits or whatever. It's that I'm okay. I go, that's what my head looks like. I'm fine. But I haven't watched that show since we did it, and so I think we're gonna do a rewatch podcast.
Are you?
I
Fine.
think we are, and which means you're gonna come guest.
I'll be on
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Where we're going to watch the show. And I think it'll be really fun to kind of look back, because it was arguably like none of us were married. None of us had kids.
Well, I was married when it started.
You were. That's true. I
Yeah.
wasn't going to say it, but as long as you're talking about it, you were
then-
married when it
Yeah.
started.
And then you guys convinced me to divorce my
I did.
first wife.
Yeah. Mostly Bunin. Bunin was at fault in that. And I
Yeah.
think,
I was very young and impressionable, and I really looked up to you guys. And
Mhm. Well, I'm old enough to be your father. So sure. Why wouldn't you? It makes a lot of sense.
Oh my God, I'll never forget. Do you remember when you told me we were still getting to know you like during season 1, and I remember like one point asking, I was like, "How?" Your birthday was coming up. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wait, how old are you?" And like you wouldn't tell me, but you sort of like showed me with your hands, like you put like the numbers out with the hands.
Yeah.
On the shuffleboard, we were playing shuffleboard. And I was like, 42. I was shocked.
I had just gone to Montreal Comedy Festival as a new face, and I was 40. I was 40 the
I-
year.
You're the
I-
baby-
look-
you still have a baby face, dude. You still.
Somewhat. It's also I have a giant filter, and this isn't even me. This is an AI me.
God
I,
damn,
I built it right before
I'm
the show
curled up in a
started.
fetal position, like with long fingernails, very Howard Hughesy right now, like near death, right over there. This
See,
is
that's
not
a good thing that AI can do,
Yes.
right?
Well, to be fair, there'll be Tom Cruise movies probably for the rest of our life. Thankfully, thank God.
I
know.
cried. I know it's like this is very, it was last year and all that, but I get choked up at Top Gun too.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah.
So I didn't see Top Gun 2.
Oh, it's fucking great, dude.
But
The first time
mostly
you
'cause
see it,
I
it's
don't know that
fantastic.
I've ever really seen Top Gun.
Hey, we can't. Hey, we can't talk about stuff like that.
No, you can talk about
Oh,
anything
well,
Tom Cruise related. That's okay.
That's true. Tom Cruise
He
strikes
transcends
Also,
all.
it wasn't your work. You weren't in Top Gun, so you can
right
talk
now.
about it.
Top 5. By the way, I used to love when people would go, Tom Cruise is a good actor. Tom Cruise is one of the greatest actors. To be able to say, I'll be your wingman anytime and make it stick. It's so hard. Top 5 movies, Tom Cruise right now. Go.
No, I gotta go. I gotta circle back to this for a second. I'm gonna go the other. I do not think, and I think he's a very talented actor, but I do not think he's one of the greatest actors of all time.
He's so good.
However, I do think he is arguably the greatest movie star of all time, and those are two different things.
I would agree with that.
I would.
And he
I do
also
agree with you
chooses
there.
projects, and he makes that project the best it can be. He
And
doesn't
look,
just show
some
up.
of these questions, risky
Okay,
business.
here we go.
Great
Legend.
movies.
All right.
Legend.
Legend's a great fucking movie. I'm not talking about
Is it-
performances. I'm talking about the quality of the movie.
Mia Sarah, is that the girl in it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That movie's amazing.
Legend's
That's an
really
amazing
great.
movie.
I wouldn't put it in the top 5, but I'm there.
It would for me.
Okay.
Top Gun.
Mike.
Aw.
Mike. Hi, Sally.
Yeah.
See, you're a parent. Dog owners can be parents too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jason, favorite Top Gun.
Oh, we're going around.
Oh, we're going around. I was like, why is he interrupting?
I love Tropic Thunder. I think he's fantastic in
I
that.
didn't even think of Tropic Thunder. Deep pull. Not his movie, but one of his best performances, I would say. When he goes, who's the key grip? You punch that guy in the face. Yeah.
Hard.
Gold. Solid gold. Hard. Risky Business.
Yeah, risky business.
Right off the top. Come on.
Color of Money, dude. Color of Money's good.
Color of Money's so good. Actually, Mike, who's a little bit of a pool hustler, dude, he has destroyed me so many times in pool and bowling. Is Color of Money a good movie?
Oh boy.
You're asking me a real deep question here. Do you have a minute?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a minute. We're not going
So
anywhere.
look,
My kid's on her iPad for the next 3 hours. I don't care. I can sit here all
it's
night.
technically a sequel, right?
True.
And unfortunately, the sequel doesn't really make sense for the main character played by Paul Newman of Eddie Felson to be where he's at. So it is a standalone, interesting movie, and I think it's pretty good. But when you actually try to connect it to the first movie, it doesn't really flow or make any
You
sense.
don't think he becomes a liquor distributor in his later years and selling booze out of the back of his car to bars? I feel like
I
that
get
did make
that.
sense.
I get that. That makes 100% sense. But since you want to go deeper, let me dig. So in the first movie is about two things. All right. I'm not trying to get political, but the first movie is about two things. It's about corporations and how they take over everything from the worker. They take all the profits. And the second thing it's about is character. And that's what it's about. He is the greatest pool player in the world, but he can really only be the greatest pool player in the world once he learns how to have character, once he learns some life lessons. So what I want to know is at the end of that movie, he's become a full person. He's grown. He's got this character. And then in the second movie, he's become George C. Scott, the person who takes everything from the little man. It's the best. It's whoever has the most is the best.
Yes. I didn't
But
see the
there's
George
no
Scott, but I
reason
like
in-
that.
But I don't mind it, but there's no reason in the in-between. They gave me no reason to believe that I was going to see Eddie Felson without character or the George C. Scott corporate character. It didn't really, the lesson learned in the first movie was that I don't have to be that. So I don't know why he was that in the second movie. I'm sure that anybody watching this has signed off.
But I think that's the point of the second movie is that he's lost that, and that's what and that's what the relationship with Vince sort of rekindles. It's sort of like, oh shit,
Rekindles. You're right.
If I can teach this kid some character, it's like
It
getting
does,
it back to myself.
But there's no reason for him to be the George C. Scott. Eddie Felson would have taught that kid character without being the I'm going to use you and your girlfriend against each other. I'm going to do the evil things and play everything against you and teach you how to be sort. Because I mean, look, did he teach Tom Cruise character, or didn't he teach him how to be a bad person? I mean, we don't like him at the end.
No,
of
he
the
didn't
movie.
teach him. He didn't. Yeah, he taught him. How to hustle. He didn't teach him how
Yes.
to be a good
By the
person.
way, Josh, who just
Yes, Josh,
questioned.
yes.
Yeah, it's from the Hustler.
Movie called The Hustler.
Which, by the way, Jackie Gleason. Which, by the way, oh my gosh,
Player.
William Friedkin passed away last week. Reed.
I know.
You saw that.
That's
so I
sad.
read a big interview with him, and it talked about William Friedkin directed The French Connection.
Yeah.
Did not want Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman wasn't even on the list of actors. Did you read this whole story?
No, I didn't really.
He wanted Jackie Gleason as the cop, Popeye Doyle, because he says in the book he's a big, heavy Irish guy. But Jackie Gleason had just made a film, Mike, about a vaudeville clown, a silent film or something that absolutely bombed. So the studios were like, we're not hiring Jackie Gleason for The French Connection. And it went down the list, and nobody would give him the money to make the movie. And finally, Richard Zanuck calls him, the producer, and goes, I'm about to be fired. If you have a project, you have 2 days to get it going. I can greenlight it before I get fired, because they were buddies. And so he calls, nobody can do it except for Gene Hackman. And so he hires Gene Hackman into the movie.
Oh,
and
man.
Gene Hackman ends up French Connection. Does he win the Academy Award for it? I think because he couldn't sell the movie because nobody got the chase. They didn't get the car chase because it's not in the script. Yeah. They were reading the script. They go, it's kind of boring. There's nothing in it. He goes, no, there's a giant car chase. It's not in there, but I'm going to shoot it like this with the thing and the go and the do. And they were all like, we can't see it. And that's how it's so crazy. It's like when you watch The Offer about the making of The Godfather. And the fact that any film back in those days got made was just a miracle. And then the reason certain casts were combined was just lightning in a bottle. And it's crazy to look back at stories like that.
Yeah. Wow.
That's all I got. Tom Cruise, Taps? No, Taps?
Yeah, Taps is good.
Taps?
Good casting.
Somebody mentioned Rain Man.
Rain Man. Oh, by the way, he should have been nominated for Rain Man. I don't think he got the credit. I thought he was great in Rain Man, and he kind of holds movies together. And then the other part's the fluffy part. But really, Tom Cruise is great in that. Tom Cruise is great, dude. I mean, come on, please. Mission Impossible. Except for number 2 with John Woo, not great.
He's watching this right now.
Oh yeah, that's why I said what I said.
And if he's not, the AI Tom Cruise is.
That's right.
That's so crazy. Reed, so the William Friedkin thing was on Deadline. I read it. It was this big interview with him. It was super. And he goes to make Sorcerer, and he has Steve McQueen wants to do it. And he says, and Steve McQueen calls him and says, it's the best script I ever read. He goes, but I just got married to Ally McGraw. Can you find a part for her? And Sorcerer, I don't know if you know, it's a remake of an old film, and it's 7 guys in the jungle trying to get a truck full of TNT across the jungle without blowing it up, without exploding it. That's the whole premise. Roy Scheider's in it. It bombs. It's the end of his career. And Steve McQueen says, I'll do it, but you got to find a part for Ally McGraw. He goes, dude, it's 7 dudes in a jungle with a truck. There's no part. He goes, well, can you at least just make her a producer on the film, and she'll come with us and she'll hang on set. And he goes, it was the biggest mistake of his life. He said no to Steve McQueen. He goes, I fucked up. He goes, if I had Steve McQueen, I had Marcello Mastroianni. He had these big European stars. He thought it was beyond.
I don't blame him in some ways, though. I mean, she has her own career.
I know. Like, she wanted to go sit in the jungle.
That's what I'm saying.
Steve McQueen.
I mean, was he just afraid she was going to cheat on him or something?
But isn't it crazy how
wasn't a
different
good
the system is now? Because back in those days, a name could change everything. And nowadays, I don't know if a name really... the name is Batman or the name is Spider-Man. It's so different. Like, I think it's the end of an era.
You're right. Like, nowadays, sometimes, like, if you say to somebody like, oh, she or he is an A-lister. Are they? Well, they won an Oscar. Yeah, but I mean, do they own a mobile company or a liquor or like a gin, or do they have a soccer team or what else do they do? Do they own a coffee machine company? Like I feel like now it's like, no, acting's not enough. Now I got to have, it's tough enough to get an acting revenue stream. Once I get that, I got to work on getting one for gin and then a
Well, if
coffee
you look at the
drink.
people who are getting big picture deals, it's like JoJo Siwa. She built a giant fan base, and so she's in like 4 or 5. And Charlie D'Amelio from TikTok has like a 6-picture deal with Netflix because they're not stupid. They know
No.
they have 27 million fans. So
Yeah.
that's the only way to open a movie now. You can't open a movie with Paul Newman going on the Mike Douglas show. And no, you can't do it. It just doesn't work anymore. And
No.
so I had a niece who was at acting school recently. She just graduated, really talented. And she goes, oh, I'm trying to get to New York and get started. I go, the way to get started is start a YouTube channel. And just, am I crazy? Or is that, I feel like that's the only way into the business.
I think that's been proven over and over again. I mean, look, there's going to be, I think, the exception to the rule. I think you're going to find somebody that might actually be able to act here and there. But a friend of mine did a
Juilliard or Yale drama.
A friend of mine was the acting teacher for a pilot a few years back, right before the pandemic, and it was all influencers who were all good at what they do.
Sure.
But he said, I worked with him for 2 weeks, and he said, the director came to me, and he's like, look, what do we have here? And he said, I just told him, I'm like, you can give me a bunch of grapes and put them in a bucket, and I can stomp on them all day, but you ain't going to get wine. And he was just sort of saying, and he said, the director just nodded and said, got it. He said, I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but like, there's years of training and doing things that go into this. So he's like, you're handing somebody a script to do something in a narrative that they don't normally do. But that's the way he put it. And I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Well, you also have to be like, even today I put up a bit. I had some, we used to do sketch or whatever. And so I had a sketch bit. And so I shot it, edited it, cut it, wrote, I did the whole thing.
Yes.
And at some point you're like, I don't want to be an all encompassing content creator, but that's what's happening. You have to kind of make your own content. If you're like a 20-year-old coming up, you're not going to just wander into town, print some headshots out and go try to join a theater company and make it. I just don't think
there's no attention span for it anymore.
That's true.
I think by the time, people are always going to like movies in general. And you hope that kids try to sort of push their own envelope and find some good movies, but they're not gonna be gravitating towards the kind of movies and series that we did in our generation. Because right now they want it quick, they want it fast, they want it loud, and they want it bright.
One of our friends had an interesting comment. He was talking to his son, and he said, "Don't you want to watch a movie?" And he was like, "Why would I spend 90 minutes watching one story when I can watch 90 different 1-minute stories?"
Right.
Yeah.
And in my brain, I was like, well, that sounds horrible. But to their brains, that's exactly what they want. Yeah. My daughter's probably in there right now watching some woman make slime.
Yeah. Or play video games,
loving
with it at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just different. I was explaining to my 8.5-year-old today. We were talking about it.
Sorry.
8.5. I know, it's crazy.
I'm at 10, bro.
I know. No, I know. I'm sorry.
Wow.
It blows my mind.
And I was talking to him. We were talking about music. Mm-hmm. And I got a new car, and it has satellite radio in it, and which I've never really played around with a whole lot before. And I love it. I gotta say, it's fucking great. Like all the stuff that you can listen to. And then I love exposing my kids to music, like stuff that I grew up on. And I was listening to like a grunge station and trying to explain to my 8.5-year-old what grunge was and how it's different than rock and roll. And it was influenced by punk, and it sort of led to all this stuff. And he's like, wow, you know a lot about music. I'm like, I really don't. But when I was a kid, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers. So there was a lot more time to kill. So you would get an album or a tape or whatever you had, and you would take it into your room for 3 hours with a set of headphones, or maybe not if no one's around, and you would just listen to that shit over and over, and you would learn every lyric to every song within the first 3 days of owning that album.
Yeah.
Because that's just all, you were just so hungry for input and data. You would just download that tape over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
And then discuss it with friends
and everything. Discuss the album art. Discuss the font that they use.
The liner notes. You read the liner notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm talking about all this stuff with my kid, and he's just sitting in the back. He's like, How would you call someone? was like, what do you mean? He's like, you can't use the tape to call someone, though, can you? Does the machine that plays the tape, does that call people? Like, no, you'd use a phone. He's like, but the phone, you couldn't take it with you. Like, no, you didn't have a phone. Like my dad had a car phone because my dad was that kind of guy that had like the big clunky fucking car phone in his Nissan.
That was Gordon Gekko?
My dad was Gordon Gekko. Thought he was Gordon Gekko. Yeah. You're never a finished product.
Oh, nice.
Bringing it back.
Thank you.
It
But he was just blown away. He
So,
can't fathom how
I
shit
think there
works.
was something positive about we got lost in one thing. So it kind of taught us attention to detail but I think kids now, it's like, and I find myself doing it. I'll go to start a new show and like 15 seconds in, I'm like, boring, can't take it. I got nothing. And I have to kind of catch myself and go, dude, you got to give it a bit. And I'm like, no, I'm over it. Can't get through it. And so it's not just them. We're being trained to have such a short attention span that it's like we can't get through anything, man. It's crazy.
Nice, Mark. Fantasy Scott draft. Sorry, got me.
What do you say? Fantasy Scott draft?
Fantasy Scott draft.
Reid Scott, Von Scott, Willard Scott.
Honestly,
Well, you know what? But like to what you're saying too, to your point a little bit. Not that it's bad. I'm not picking on the new generation. I'm actually not one of those people. Like when I see somebody wearing a band shirt from like my junior high years, I don't question them. Do you know every track on the album? I usually just say cool shirt, right? I like that they're wearing it. I'm not going to be a jerk. But what's interesting is now because we can watch kind of everything's appointment, we can do whatever we want. We've lost like live performances, a live comedy show. That was for that audience on that night. And that's it. And that's why it was special. Or like, this is a mini series that comes on tonight at 8. You can't miss it. You got to be there at 8 to watch. We've lost those sort of special things, I think.
Oh, I remember lining up around the corner from Record Town, like the record shop in my town called Record Town, lining up like the morning of, it was like Tuesday mornings, right? Like or Thursday mornings, whatever it was, when the new records would drop. Not even for anything specific, just knowing that sort of like that's the day that like a giant shipment comes in and I'm going in there and I'm flipping through all the B-sides and all the imports and all this kind of like, what can I find? What's new out there? Like, you were your own Google, your fingers were your Google. You're just like, what can I getting it quick and getting out of there and just got to get it in the car and pop it in the car and got to listen to it immediately. Oh God.
I just always say when I grew up, my dad was kind of older. He was 43 when I was born. And so for him, like technology from his era of like the 40s and 50s to then like the 70s and 80s was a big change. I mean, there was a cordless phone eventually. There was a remote control for the television. That was the extent of it. Yeah. Now, I just got my daughter an iPhone. It took me like days to sit there and try to put on parental controls and go like, wait a minute. And then within seconds, she was like, yeah, I don't need that. That's gone. I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? Like, it's so exponential. And we talk about AI and the thing within like 5 or 6 years from now, it's like, when my daughter is going to be 15, 16 in 5, 6 years from now, it's going to be, I don't know how to get through it, man. I don't know how to get through this thing where you're like,
scary.
You're just going to have to talk to them and go, listen, this is me with my kids with controls to be like, hey, Claire, listen, I'm too old. I don't know how to put controls on this thing. So I'm just going to tell you this shit out there. God, you do not want to see. For the love of God. I've seen things like, I wish I hadn't looked at. I'm telling you.
I didn't mean to send it to you.
Yeah, I know. God, 2 girls, 1, whatever. I don't need that in my head. And I'm going to have to tell Claire to go like, Claire, you just don't, you're going to have to stop this. But I don't know how to stop it.
Actually, you know how you stop that, Jamie? Just show her the reaction videos to people watching 2 Girls, 1 Cup, and she'll never, ever.
I've never seen it, by the way.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
I don't. I've deliberately looked away from things I did not want in my head. I can't watch injury like when a guy breaks his leg.
I was up for it. I didn't get it.
I was up for the cup. They weren't going to go cup. It was going to go 2 girls, 1 old
Kaler
dude. Yeah, 1 Kaler. And then
I was up for 2 Menches and an Ambrosia. It's a whole different thing.
Problem is my social numbers were too low. They said
They-
they said you don't have a following enough. I said, what do you mean to have two girls defecate? What are you even talking about? Of course I got it. And they go, no, your following's way too low, Jimmy.
So we're gonna go with this cup because the cup has 5 million followers.
That cup, by the way, that cup. If you've seen any of the cup's earlier posts, that cup's got some really clever work. And then all of a sudden it's sold out.
You know, they have a brand deal with Red Solo now.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
How did Red Solo not jump on that and go 2 girls, 1 Red Solo?
God. Oh,
Never
we
saw it.
live in a wonderful world.
But I was writing a bit about this, and I was trying to name like the worst things that are on the internet. And I Googled the 10 worst things anyone's ever seen on the internet. And I got to number 2, and I was like, I can't watch any more of this. And I can't even tell you what I saw, but it was
I don't want to know.
It was gruesome. No, you should Google it. Everyone out there tonight, I want you to go Google the 10 worst things that's ever appeared on the internet and see what happens to your brain.
Blue waffle.
Oh no, I don't know what blue waffle. Oh,
man.
shoot. Do I have to Google blue waffle?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh God, here I go.
No, don't do it. And by the way, I want to say, yes, I have mixed feelings because I love being able to carry my whole library in my phone, of course, or have everything on the cloud up to NRC, to narcolepsy 27.
Blue
sorry.
waffle disease. Is that what we're talking about? Blue waffle disease.
He goes, no, don't. I'm not doing it.
This is Reid. This is why I don't see things because I don't go, well, let me just look it up for a second here. And I'm not going to look at it. Let me just look at it.
Blue waffle STD.
I haven't really clicked on anything yet.
Don't do it.
Yes.
It's got a whole Reddit.
The
There's a
first
whole Reddit
headline that
Twitter
comes
about
up in
it.
Google, it says blue waffle disease. Is it a real STD? And then right under that it says, and this is from Medical News Today, blue waffle disease does not exist.
Well, there's obviously some photos apparently because the messages have gone ballistic.
Oh
Every
my
single.
God.
By the way, I'm learning a lot about our viewers and our fans because every one of them to a person has been like, do not Google.
Do not Google.
Blue waffle is a fictional sexually transmitted infection.
Good. You
That's
know what? Good
believed-
enough for me. Fiction or nonfiction? I don't want to know about it.
This is from dictionary.com, so this is very tame. This is fine for our
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Blue waffle is a fictional sexually transmitted infection, an STI, that is believed to both turn the vagina blue and disfigure it. It is also said to originate from women who get around and or their lack of hygiene. People say it only transmits from women to men.
No.
And then there's a picture of a blue waffle, which is really just 2 Eggo waffles tinted blue.
I listen, the disfigurement part, yeah, that's not cool. But honestly, I really like the color blue, so I don't have a problem with the blue.
So
part.
naturally in the disease world, what is causing the blue pigment?
Would you
I
say
have
blueberry
questions.
waffle?
Yeah.
I like
delicious.
blueberry waffles.
I feed those to my kids every day. Blueberry
Look,
waffle.
guys, I like the blue fun dip, but I don't want blue waffles. Okay.
This is like 4 old guys where the kids are like, "Hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about this?" The Smurfs.
That's why I'm saying I really do. I'm not. I want to look. This younger generation. I feel like all of us probably voted our whole lives trying to get the things they want. I'm not ragging on them. Some of them are morons. I'm not ragging on all of them. I'm not ragging on all of them. I want what they want.
Oh man, I love that you think your vote still counts. That's the sweetest thing I've heard all night. So great.
I didn't want to punch you in the face until you used the word.
No, trust me. Every vote you put in, really, it's making a change.
It does, Jamie. It does.
No, it doesn't, brother.
Yes, it does.
No, you'd be surprised.
All right. I'm not doing the Q Lounge show with you.
Listen, we have gone so much longer than I ever wanted to or expected to, but I love talking to you guys so much that
Oh man, do we end it on blue waffle?
I guess.
I mean, where do we
Going
go
out on
from
blue
there,
waffle,
right?
everybody? We're going out on blue waffle.
I mean, how do you top blue waffle?
Yeah.
Anybody who else out there has a topic to top blue waffle? What
Quick,
about the younger
quick.
ones that think LeBron is better than Jordan? Wait,
LeBron's not even better than Kobe. Move
wait,
on.
what are you talking about? LeBron's the greatest player who's ever played basketball.
No,
Ever.
he's not.
Ugh, ever.
No, he's
I'm
not.
glad my kid had some taste because he definitely liked the original Space Jam as opposed to the LeBron one.
Night, Grace. Listen, we got to wrap this thing. Sweet.
No.
Ah, you.
You go.
All right. So listen, here's what we've learned tonight.
Oh, all right.
Tom Cruise is pretty great. There was another one I was going to say. There was another Tom Cruise movie. I like all Tom Cruise movies. I really do. All the Right Moves. Fantastic. Craig T. Nelson.
Yep.
Leah Thompson. Fantastic.
The Outsiders? Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Jeez. Really, Mike? Nothing?
I'm not a huge fan. I don't dislike him. I have nothing bad to say about him. I don't hate him as a
I
person.
can even sit through Days of Thunder. Cocktail. Cocktail's a great movie.
Cocktail's a great movie.
No, Cocktail's not a great movie.
Thank you.
Great movie.
No.
I made it about 4 minutes into Cocktail, and I was like, I'd rather watch FX.
You did not. Have you never seen all of Cocktail?
I've seen it like in bits and pieces. Let me guess. He's got talent. He falls in love with a woman he shouldn't, and then trouble ensues. And then they make big decisions. Move on.
Wait, did you just put that into AI? Because that was spot on. That's exactly.
Yeah, I didn't mean to tell. That's actually not the real
We
beauty.
start shooting tomorrow. That's
AI.
fantastic, Mike. That's not even Mike. That's AI, Mike.
No, I uploaded him. That's why he was the real Mike's still trying to log into StreamYard. I uploaded this.
That's
All right,
very well
listen,
true.
it's going late. We're 11:30 on the East Coast.
Listen, I don't have kids. I can stay on and do this.
My daughter's brain is melting watching some woman comment on other people playing video games right now. I can't do this, Mike.
I feel like we got Reid from his reading corner. Like this is his art reading corner wing.
That's the depth where it all happens.
I like it. I'm saying I like it. I know that most things that come out of my mouth, Reid, sound like an insult. But
I had a badger Mike to come into the show tonight, and then it's always the same. And I told him, I said, "Oh, Mike's having trouble getting in." And they goes, "He always like that." And then as soon as he comes in, he has a ball. Hey, you guys promise me we'll do this again. I love it.
Absolutely, man.
And when the strike's over, we're gonna do a rewatch podcast.
We are gonna
I actually want to go back, and I want my kids to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Show that, yeah.
That would be really funny, I think.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be, by the time the strike's over, she's 10 now, so she'll be 16 by the time the strike ends, and then we could start the whole process then.
Have a good night at work, Sandra. Sorry, Sandra.
All right, hey, listen, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Reid Scott, Michael Bunin, Jason Gowan, Jamie Kaler, thank you guys for tuning in, and we really appreciate it. It was super fun tonight. Thanks for coming along on the ride. All right, everybody, we'll see you next time on the Parents Lounge.